Did you know that Nokia was once the world's largest mobile phone manufacturer, holding a dominant market share of over 40%? Yet today, the brand that was synonymous with cell phones has almost completely vanished from the smartphone market. How did a company that once led the digital revolution fall from grace so swiftly? Was it poor strategy, or did the world simply move on faster than they could adapt? This is the story of Nokia's rise to power, and the even more shocking fall from the peak that left many wondering, how did it all go so wrong? Nokia, once the undisputed leader of the mobile phone world, is now a shadow of its former self. At its peak, the Finnish company was not only the most popular mobile brand globally, but it also shaped how we communicated and connected. From the iconic Nokia 3310 to being the go-to brand for millions, it seemed like nothing could stop them. But in the blink of an eye, Nokia lost its grip on the market, and companies like Apple and Samsung took over. How did this happen? And more importantly, what can we learn from their dramatic fall? This isn't just a story about a company's failure. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of complacency, missed opportunities, and the fast-paced evolution of technology. We often hear about success stories, but rarely do we dive into why giants like Nokia fall. In this video, we'll uncover the key moments that led to Nokia's decline, exploring decisions, missteps, and external factors that changed the course of its future forever. Stick around as we reveal what went wrong, and why the lessons from Nokia's rise and fall are more relevant than ever. To understand the rise and fall of Nokia, we need to look back at a time when the company wasn't just leading the mobile phone industry, it defined it. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Nokia was the brand most people trusted. If you owned a Nokia phone, you were part of a global network of over 1 billion users. The company's dominance in the mobile phone market was staggering. In 2007, Nokia controlled nearly 50% of the global market share, with over 400 million phones sold that year alone. People weren't just buying phones, they were buying into an experience, a symbol of reliability and simplicity. However, just a few years later, Nokia began to lose its grip. By 2012, its market share had plummeted to just 8%, with newer companies, especially Apple and Android-powered phones, overtaking it. What happened? At the core, it was a failure to adapt to the rapid changes in the smartphone world. While Apple's iPhone revolutionized the market with its sleek touchscreen design and robust app ecosystem, Nokia stuck with its outdated Symbian software and hardware. Experts point out that Nokia's internal culture, which had once thrived on innovation, became slow and resistant to change, making it impossible for them to catch up. Today, the story of Nokia's fall serves as a key lesson for businesses everywhere, especially as we live in an age where technology and innovation are moving faster than ever. Just like Nokia, companies that fail to evolve risk becoming irrelevant. Understanding what went wrong can help us anticipate the risks and challenges that even today's tech giants face in an ever-evolving landscape. At the height of Nokia's success, many believed that no company could challenge their dominance. But, as history has shown us, even the strongest empires can crumble. In the early 2000s, Nokia seemed invincible. It was a brand that almost every mobile phone owner knew and trusted. They controlled the market, produced innovative phones, and had built a reputation that seemed to be untouchable. But what if I told you that Nokia had been handed a massive opportunity for a comeback, and they missed it? In 2007, the launch of the iPhone changed everything. Apple's sleek design, innovative touchscreen interface, and integrated ecosystem left Nokia scrambling to catch up. But that wasn't the only shift happening in the industry. At the same time, Google was introducing Android, a new operating system that was not only easy to use but also open source, meaning that other companies could adapt and build their own phones around it. Nokia, on the other hand, was clinging to its aging Symbian operating system, which had been the backbone of its success. This decision alone would come to haunt them. The question remains, why didn't Nokia react faster? Why didn't they see the writing on the wall? Some believe it was the company's internal culture. The same culture that had once helped them become the world leader now made it difficult for them to innovate. In fact, their engineers were so fixated on hardware that they completely overlooked the growing importance of software and app ecosystems, which would eventually become the heart of smartphone technology. And here's another surprising fact. Despite Nokia's dominance, they actually had the resources and expertise to take on Apple and Google. They had massive cash reserves, access to some of the best engineers in the world, and a strong global distribution network. Yet, they couldn't make the leap. Was it poor leadership? Was it a failure to see the future? Or was it simply a matter of being too comfortable at the top? Stay tuned as we dive deeper into the pivotal moments that led to Nokia's ultimate downfall, and the lessons that can be applied to today's tech giants who face similar crossroads. The defining moment that led to Nokia's dramatic fall came in 2011 when they made a game-changing decision, but not the one that would save them. In a last-ditch effort to regain market share, Nokia entered into a partnership with Microsoft to adopt Windows Phone as its primary operating system. It was a move that shocked the tech world, and in hindsight, it was the nail in the coffin. While Nokia had once been a leader in mobile technology, this shift into Windows Phone felt like a desperate attempt to latch onto something new. But it wasn't enough to compete with the growing dominance of iOS and Android. Nokia had missed its chance to innovate on its own. By relying on Microsoft's software, they gave up control over their own destiny. Windows Phone was struggling to attract app developers, and it couldn't keep up with the robust ecosystems built by Apple and Google. Meanwhile, companies like Samsung, with Android as their backbone, were pulling ahead. By the time Nokia realized that the Windows Phone strategy wasn't going to turn the tide, it was already too late. But the real turning point came when Nokia made another bold, yet ultimately fatal decision. They decided to abandon their Symbian operating system entirely. At the time, it was the most widely used mobile OS in the world, but it was also outdated and clunky compared to the sleek designs emerging from Apple and Android. Nokia's gamble on Windows Phone was meant to replace Symbian, but in doing so, they alienated their existing user base who were loyal to Symbian. The transition was messy, with too many missteps along the way. It wasn't just the operating system that Nokia got wrong. It was their failure to recognize the power shift happening in the mobile market. While Apple and Google focused on creating user-friendly ecosystems, Nokia remained obsessed with hardware. They didn't see that apps and software were becoming the driving force behind smartphone success. The likes of Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp weren't just adding value to phones. They were reshaping the entire smartphone experience. In the end, Nokia's downfall wasn't just about poor decisions. It was about failing to recognize that the world was changing faster than they could keep up. Their reluctance to adapt, their missed opportunities to innovate, and their failure to embrace a shifting industry ultimately led to a once dominant giant fading into obscurity. And perhaps the most shocking part of all, Nokia didn't just lose to competitors. They were left in the dust by a completely new generation of mobile technology that they had once shaped. Nokia's rise and fall teaches us a powerful lesson. Success isn't guaranteed, no matter how dominant you are. Their failure to innovate and adapt to the changing landscape of mobile technology shows how even the strongest companies can falter when they don't stay ahead of the curve. The key takeaway? In an industry driven by rapid change, companies must evolve constantly, embracing new ideas and technologies before they're forced to. As we look to the future, the question remains: which current tech giants will learn from Nokia's mistakes, and which will repeat them? Keep thinking, and keep watching closely. If you found this story about Nokia's rise and fall interesting, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with your friends. What do you think contributed most to Nokia's downfall? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you're interested in more insights on business, technology, and the lessons we can learn from the world's biggest companies, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Stay tuned for more intriguing stories that reveal the truth behind success and failure in the modern world.